Hello everyone. New shoot 'em up, new PS4 shoot 'em up. With these videos, I've been kind of going back through my collection of stuff that I've picked up over the last few months, probably stretching across maybe a few years. And this one is hot off the press, and it's Shikhondo. I think that's how it's pronounced. It was actually shipped relatively recently, and actually meant that this week I received two PS4 new release shoot 'em ups. One from Germany and one from Japan. The other one was Steredenn. I think it's called Steredenn. Sounds like the name of a toilet cleaner or something, or a mouthwash, something like that. You know, kind of like a chemical brand name. But anyway, that's kind of going off on a tangent. Let's talk about Shikhondo. This is, I think it's got a tagline of Soul Eater. This was originally a Steam release, which got a subsequent PS4 release, and Play Asia and EastAsiaSoft brought out a physical release of the game. I'll talk about the game shortly, but we'll talk first about what you actually get in the box. So, pretty standard fare for these releases. I realised that the first three PS4 games that I've shown in this series are all from EastAsiaSoft, but there are some, well, there are quite a few other titles, other companies releasing shoot 'em ups. So on the system. So let's have a look at. But I'll get around to that at some point. Comes with one of these little stickers as well, saying it's Play Asia release number 25, and there we go. There's this embossed certificate that you generally get, if I can actually say it. A little bit of artwork there on the back as well. Usually with this you get a soundtrack, which I actually really like the soundtrack. It's very kind of like Fast and Furious. It's a bit kind of like rocky in places. I do actually quite like it. Comes with a spine card. Fantastic. I always like little touches like that. And there we've got this CD soundtrack. There you go. Yeah, as you'll see, I'll show you the actual. We'll talk about the manual, and this is the actual game box. Slightly different artwork. That's actually one of the bosses from the game, and there we go. Another reversible sleeve on there. I actually think I like the other sleeve on this one. And there is the manual, full colour manual. Again, not bad. A little bit of how to play in there as well. You get how to play on the actual track scene of the game. A little bit of stuff about game modes here. There's obviously an arcade mode. There's a boss rush mode. There's a novice mode, which is beginner. Hardcore, which makes sense. Custom mode, which I'm not quite sure what that one is. Cooperative mode, and then we've got all the difficulty modes there. I've had a quick go on this on easy. I'm saying I had a quick go. I've had quite a few plays on it on easy, and it gets quite tricky after level 3. A little bit in there all about the trophies, and then there's the two main characters you actually get to control. So yeah, presentation of these sets actually really quite nice. So what do I actually think about the game itself? I mean, it's a Korean shoot 'em up, and it's actually quite horror themed, and some of the bosses are a bit are a bit messed up. I might insert a photo here. But I really like it. I had a bit of trepidation at first, to be honest, because when I played it, I couldn't quite get myself into the flow of the game really. But once you get used to the control system, as I say, there's two main characters to play, and they both play distinctly different. But once I kind of got my head around the scoring system, which is a pretty simple one actually, to be honest. When you know, it's pretty good. You've got kind of like you've got a regular shot, and once you hold down like a power button, it focuses your shot. And whilst you're in that focus mode, if you graze bullets, like in Sivaria, you power up a kind of like a soul gauge. So when you actually trigger it, you become invulnerable for a little while, and your firepower kind of greatly increases. You do have a series of kind of smart bombs as well, which can fall upon an emergency, which kind of have the same effect. Or if you actually trigger the soul gauge and then click on the kind of like the smart bombs, it kind of doubles up the power, and it also kind of rapidly kind of boosts the amount of souls you actually collect. So yeah, it's quite cool. Yeah, so once you get your head around that kind of that system, it's pretty good fun, and you kind of start tailoring your game to kind of like get the best score really. And that's where it's a kind of like it's a mixed bag really, to be honest, because as I said initially, it might not kind of draw you in, but once you actually start playing it, it is kind of really fun, and you've got to kind of think tactically. I think one of the only things that lets it down, this is a couple of things really, is the fact that you cannot remap the buttons. So if you're using a stick, you've kind of got to stick with what you've got, if you excuse the pun. If you're using a control pad, it actually works really well. It really works well, surprisingly. Obviously you don't get that kind of like that fine control that you get with an arcade stick, but depending on which stick you get, you've got the mapping might not be that much of an issue. I must admit I haven't played it on the arcade stick yet, but that was kind of one of the things that kind of like jumped out at me. Another thing which kind of like you know, slightly detracts from it, let's say, is the fact that the you know, the player, you know, the bad guys, the enemies, they're not that varied, to be honest. And as the levels go on, you see more kind of different bad guys, but there are kind of like stock bad guys which use all the way through the game. But they do kind of use them in interesting formations. The bullets do kind of fill up the screen as you get further into the game. And you kind of start using that grazing mechanic a lot more as you progress through the game. So, you know, it's yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It's a minor, both kind of cases are a minor thing for me. And the boss battles are fantastic. I really enjoyed the boss battles. You've got to kind of think strategically. Never feels unfair as well. And I feel like all the bosses that I've played so far are doable. With some of these bullet hell games, I just kind of think, how the hell am I going to do that? But with this game, there's none of that really. As I've said, it kind of there's bullet grazing plays a big part in this, but also you know, visibly it looks like Guange. I think that's how you sell it, by Cave. It's kind of feudal Japan almost, it looks like. But again, the way that you're controlling a character, a little kind of flying lass, without you know, without thinking of a better word for it, it feels very much like Castle of Shikigami as well. In that theme alone, to be honest, because you could arguably say it's a little bit like the old the SNK shoot 'em up as well, whose name escapes me at the moment. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I really enjoyed it, and to be honest, the more I play it, the more I'm enjoying it. So well worth checking out. I picked up my copy for £27, as I say, I picked that up on release. You can actually pick this up from the Players site at the moment for 28 quid, and again I think they're doing an offer at the moment where you get free postage and packing on it. Probably snap this one up because in terms of word of mouth it's actually quite nice, and it will probably sell out, I suspect. But yes, I really like it, and one of these indies that's well worth picking up, to be honest. So I will stick some footage on here and a few screenshots as well after this. But again, thank you all for watching. If any of you picked this up, I'd be interested to hear what you actually you feel about the game in the comments. So great. I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Ha 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 ha!